Good morning. It's the Call Flow Radio Show, and you're on the air.
Well, good morning to you. Happy Monday. Happy President's Day. Although some places still just listed as Washington's birthday. Whichever. Take your pick. Whatever makes you happy. Monday morning, and I am with you, along with, he's back, that's right, Larry Burr. He's been on his cruise.
That's right. That's right.
Had himself a nice, relaxing Caribbean cruise.
Bahamas.
Little love boat going on. We won't go and play it. Couldn't help myself.
You couldn't, could you?
No. But we won't get into all that. You're welcome back. I hope you had a great time.
It was hard. It was difficult, you know.
Isn't it always?
Coming back.
Yeah, I can
a little
imagine.
colder here than it was there. Yeah.
We had a little warm spell.
Did you?
And then it got a little cooler, and of course we got another warm spell coming.
80 degrees. Can you believe
for
that?
For one day at least.
Well, yeah, it sticks out though.
In February, you better believe in the end of February.
It's in the right direction. That's for sure.
We lucked out though, because I mean the almanac again, right?
Yeah,
we're way up on our precip, exactly as they said. We just got real lucky that our timing, all the times we had the extra precip, we had the warm trend. It didn't sync with the cold trend, so we got lucky. But great to have you back with us.
Well, thank you, sir. Good to be back.
Glad to have it. All right, let's look at our history for this date. We'll go back 1792. President Washington signs an act that would create the United States Post Office Department.
Wow.
Yep. Technically considered a branch of the federal government, but not run by the federal government. It's an interesting dichotomy, the post office.
It is, yes.
Very interesting.
The dynamics. Well, and it's still, still running today in a similar fashion than it did back then. It hasn't changed all that much.
Not the base operation, exactly.
Just the price of a stamp.
Yeah, well, inflation does affect everything. Jump almost 100 years. 1862, William Wallace Lincoln, the 11-year-old son of President Lincoln and First Lady Mary Todd Lincoln, would die at the White House. Was typhoid fever was what they believe historically that would kill him. 1905, U.S. Supreme Court in Jacobson v. Massachusetts upheld the 7-2 compulsory vaccination law that was to protect the public health. 1907, President Teddy Roosevelt signs the Immigration Act, which would exclude, quote, idiots, imbeciles, feeble-minded persons, epileptics, and insane persons from being admitted to the United States. That, of course, has been amended.
Yeah.
But language of the time.
Most of us wouldn't be here, right?
Well,
or
be thankful we were born here. Right?
I know some people who wouldn't be here.
Of course, we have in our own minds what those terms mean. They meant very different things in 1907.
Of course.
1933, Congress proposes the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution. That, of course, to repeal prohibition. I think the only time Congress admitted to a mistake. 1930.
No comment.
1938, Anthony Eden would resign from the British Foreign Secretary, I should say, following Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain's decision to negotiate with Italian dictator Benito Mussolini. 62, John Glenn becomes the first American to orbit the Earth. Of course, that was aboard the Project Mercury Friendship 7 spacecraft, circling the globe 3 times in a flight that lasted 4 hours, 55 minutes, and 23 seconds before he would splash down in the Atlantic about 800 miles southeast of Bermuda.
Amazing.
Really wrong.
We saw those. We went to the Space Air Museum,
the
the
capsule.
Smithsonian. Yeah, up in... it was it's a tin can. I mean, no, it's an aluminum can.
Aluminum, yeah.
Very thin aluminum.
Very thin
Amazing.
aluminum.
Even those early airplanes and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
You look at them and go...
Spirit of St. Louis and stuff.
You seriously had to be brave to do that.
Well,
stuff.
I mean, it's you think about it, in any of those early explorer pioneers of that time, whether it was like the Montgolfier brothers taking a balloon up, or Edmondson, any of the Scott and the polar expeditions and things like this, or the jungle expeditions, Livingston and stuff. I mean, you just think about, you really were headed into a total unknown.
Yes.
You were putting your life on the line every minute for nothing more than science.
Right. It's amazing what people do. And it's a totally different atmosphere today with that, I think.
Well, I think the phones and the instantness of information and the overload of information.
True. Do we have a better sense of danger or something like that? Or are we over-regulated so we can't have that kind of imagination?
I don't, in some things there may be regulation. I think a lot of it is the fact that there's kind of a complacency to where it's like, well, we've mapped out. We know where the rivers are, and we know. But when you really think about it, that's not true, because we still find species in jungles and they just found not that long ago a new species of shark they didn't know existed that lives basically in the superheated waters from undersea volcanoes.
Awesome.
It's that warm, you'd be surprised that you would find sharks. But this is their environment.
It's incredible, the beasts and monsters that come out of the ocean these days. Yeah.
And we still don't know
not
half of the ocean stuff.
No.
It's remarkable.
It is.
Let's see, where were we? 1965. The Ranger 8 spacecraft would crash on the moon as planned. What an accident. After sending back thousands of pictures of the lunar surface. Jump to 87. A bomb left by the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, exploded behind a computer store in Salt Lake City, seriously injuring the store owner Gary Wright. 98. Tara Lipinski would win the ladies figure skating gold medal at the Nagano Olympics. Michelle Kwan took the silver. 2003, a fire sparked by pyrotechnics broke out during a concert by a group, the Great White, at the Station nightclub, West Warwick, Rhode Island. 100 people killed, about 200 injured. That was a real big to-do.
Yeah, you remember that, too?
Yeah. It was all over the news for days. And we'll finish in 2005. All on the same day, death would claim actress Sandra Dee at 62, musical actor John Raitt at 88, and writer Hunter S. Thompson at the age of 67. They would all go the same day. So pretty wild. Celebrity birthdays today. Let's see. Hockey Hall of Famer Phil Esposito, 81. I remember watching him hawk mattresses on commercials out of New York as a kid. Mitch McConnell, Senate Minority Leader, 81. Mike Lee, the movie director, turns 80 today. Brilliant actress Brenda Blethyn is 77. Actress Sandy Duncan, also 77 today. Actor Peter Strauss turns 76. Former British Prime Minister Gordon Brown, 72. Actor John Volstad, remember from Newhart? He was one of the Darrells. He's 72. Newspaper heiress Patricia Hearst is 67. Broadway, TV, and film actor Anthony Head, 69 today. Who else have we got here? Charles Barkley, former basketball star, turns the big 6-0 today. French Stewart, comedic actress, 59. Cindy Crawford, model, 57 today. Actor Andrew Shue is 56. So is actress Lily Taylor, 56 as well. A lot of people never heard of before. Comedian Trevor Noah, 39. Actor Jake Richard, 38. Actor Miles Teller is 36. Rihanna, the singer, she turns 35 today. So there you go.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to them all. Well, let's see. Of course, what have we got today? You can celebrate National Comfy Day on the 20th.
Okay.
Yep. Get yourself comfortable and just relax. The idea to get cozy and take a break from the daily grind.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, if that's your thing, you can do that today.
I'm ready.
National Leadership Day. Kind of sounds very opposite to National Comfy Day. National Love Your Pet Day. Isn't that every day?
Yeah.
Should be.
Yeah.
Ooh, favorite of mine. National Cherry Pie Day.
You like cherry pie?
I love cherry pie.
I used to like cherry pie, but then in Prescott, Arizona, they had a cherry pie eating contest when I was 13 years old. Yeah, I entered, I won, and I will never eat cherry pie again.
Congratulations, but I can imagine how sick that would make one of eating pie. That's why I've never entered a pie eating contest.
Yeah, I tell you.
No, I do. I like pie. It's also National Muffin Day, so if you don't like pies, you can have muffins.
Hallelujah.
So take your pick. And, of course, as I said, it is President's Day, the third Monday, President's Day. It's always interesting. It kind of reminds me of all the stuff that happened with Thanksgiving went on all those years ago back in the late 30s, early 40s. Because, remember, we used to have Lincoln's birthday observed and Washington's birthday observed. And the 22nd always used to be Washington's. The Monday before was always Lincoln's because they were the closest. Washington's birthday is actually Wednesday. It's the 24th. But they were always the closest. And nowadays it's pretty much been President's Day. Kind of they combined them all and they decided we'll honor all presidents of the past.
And we'll have a big sales event.
Yeah. So
buy a car.
Oh yeah, that'll be a big thing. That happened in '68. Congress passed the Uniform Monday Holiday Bill, as it was called.
Really?
Yeah. And during a debate, one proposal suggested that to rename the Washington's birthday observed to President's Day in honor both of the presidents, and that's what actually happened in '68. It was really just to honor the two of them on one day, as opposed to two federal holidays. Okay. And then it was later that it became we're going to honor everybody. Now the bill didn't go into effect. It took 3 years. Didn't go into effect until 1971. And today the shift is to celebrate all of our presidents. So speaking of presidents, I don't know how many have heard, former President Carter, 98, our oldest ever living president. None have ever lived to that age. He is in hospice care now.
Oh.
So things have gotten to that point, so we can expect what's coming.
And knowing him, he'll still go help build a house for
if they let him. I guarantee. Yeah, I guarantee you're
He's
right.
He's probably an amazing human being.
Really has.
We could all be better people like that.
He's really, really shown that it doesn't matter where you fall in this spectrum of money and power and whatnot. It's being there for each other and helping other people that makes the difference.
He's an inspiring human being, yes.
Yeah, regardless of how you felt about him as president or politics, you have to look at what the man has done and the example he's put forward and still give him the kudos for it. It's remarkable.
Well, it's sad that he's in that situation.
Yeah, because you know what it means.
Yes, we do.
It's open mic day, of course. Give us a call. Anything you want to talk about, 434-394-0924, of course, is the number to call. Found this. This came out in the newest issue of Smithsonian. Speaking of the Smithsonian earlier, we're big history folks. We always have been here at Flow. Well, I want to take you back to the summer of 1495. Okay. King Hans of Denmark and Norway has anchored just off the southern coast of Sweden his great warship. It's the Gribsjøten, which in English would be the Griffin. Thank you. While there at anchor, it mysteriously catches fire and sinks to the bottom of the Baltic Sea. Now, he's not on the ship. He's on his way to Kalmar, where he is going to be the newly elected king of Sweden and help unite the Nordic region. All right. But the cool thing is, it wasn't till just recently the 500-year-old shipwreck was discovered. And inside, this is what makes this such a fascinating story, a substantially complete royal pantry. So this giant wooden chest that, because the water's so cold, has been basically preserved. Archaeologists Mikael Larsson and Brendan Foley from Lund University in Sweden have written the paper. A vibrant and connected group shows about the different nation states. They found spices, that are still in there, still in these little cupboards. Ginger, clove, peppercorn, dill, mustard seed, caraway, saffron. So they knew about saffron from the crocus plant way back then, as well as the remains of certain fruits and vegetables like cucumbers, grapes, raspberries, blackberries, almonds, and hazelnuts. Yeah. $14.95. Inside was 13 ounces of saffron, which they say at the time was probably worth more than the entire ship because it was such a rare spice. And it's very rare to find these plant species that still exist.
That's amazing.
So that was I thought that was really cool, pretty fascinating stuff.
I wonder what they're going to do. I'm sure it's going to be a museum piece, and
probably after it's been studied and whatnot.
Do you kind of want to have a little bit to cook with or something?
No, I think after that long underwater, probably has lost its potency.
You think so?
Yeah, I would think so. But I do think it would be really cool if there's a way they can preserve it so that you could actually see these spices. They're over 500 years old.
It's amazing.
It's pretty wild. So we'll have to see. That they didn't mention in the article. The article itself is more on this chest and these spices and the fact of it. It really does change the whole perspective of some of the spice routes. Because you're talking now Norway and Sweden, which was never included in those pathways of the spice route. So somehow there also had to be a spice route that went that far north.
Which probably isn't surprising.
No, you would think they use these things.
Did you see Marco Polo, the movie with Genghis Khan?
No.
It's an incredible series, actually. And really, it talked a lot about the spice trades.
Right.
What was it? What was it called? That where they had the spice. I can't stand it when I can't think of words. Luckily, I'm on the air, and I'll just pass over to John, and he'll save me. I'm sure, or Chris.
No.
Oh no. I'll think of it.
It'll come to you all of a sudden in the middle of nowhere. It'll come to you. But I thought that was interesting, and that's an article. The article about the paper is in the new issue of Smithsonian magazine. So if you're curious, you can read up on that. You can probably find the article online as well.
Was it the Silk Road? Was that the spice trade? Yeah.
The Silk Road was one of the part of connected to the whole spice trail. Yeah, that was it. Dealt more with the fabric than the spices, but it was basically the same kind of same kind of thing.
Trade there.
Yeah, from the Far East. Yeah, the main route. Also, you may have heard Richard Belzer, longtime stand-up comedian who really became more indelible to a younger generation as a TV actor. From Homicide, Life on the Street, and then Law & Order SUVs, died at the age of 78. By that point, I never watched the Law & Order spin-offs. Yeah. So for me, I'll always think of Richard Belzer as this comedian, this kind of quirky, intelligent humor. Yeah. You have to think to get the joke kind of comedian. But he died Sunday at his home, Below-sur-Mer, where he lived in southern France with his longtime friend Bill Sheff. Now, Sheff, who is a writer, had been working on a documentary about Belzer, said there's no known cause of death at this time, but Belzer had been dealing with circulatory and respiratory issues. Henry Winkler, who is Belzer's cousin.
Really?
Yeah. He tweeted.
I can see it.
Yeah, you can kind of see a resemblance there. He just tweeted out, "Rest in peace, Richard." For more than 2 decades, across 10 series. That includes appearances on 30 Rock and Arrested Development. Belzer always played a wide, cracking, acerbic detective prone to conspiracy theories. He first played the character Munch on a 93 episode of Homicide, and last played him in 2016 on Law & Order SVU. Now, he never auditioned for the role, He was actually, it's a fun story, he was actually on the Howard Stern Show. Oh. And executive producer Barry Levinson thought of bringing him in to read for the part of it was a one-time character role, initially off Homicide. Belzer actually said once in an interview, I would never be a detective, but if I were, I'd be that way. He said, they write to my paranoia, my anti-establishment dissidence, and my belief in conspiracy theories. It's been a lot of fun. A dream, really, is how he described it. So, yeah, from that unlikely beginning, the character would actually become one of TV's longest-running characters, wearing sunglasses in the presence for over 2 decades. 2008, he actually published a novel, I'm Not a Cop. It helped Michael Ian Black, another comedian and actor, helped write several books with him on conspiracy theories about things like Kennedy's assassination, the Malaysian missing plane. Richard Lewis, who was also a very close friend, said he made me laugh 1 billion times. So, and was always kind of goofing around. Born in Bridgeport, Connecticut, drawn to comedy. He had an abusive childhood. His mom would beat him and his older brother. He would do impressions of Jerry Lewis, who was his idol. And he told People magazine in '93 in an interview that my kitchen was the toughest room I ever worked. So was on Catch a Rising Star as a regular performer, and then became MC for a while back in the 70s. And was in a TV satire with Chevy Chase that no one will remember, called The Groove Tube, Taking You Back. That was before SNL. Nobody knew who Chevy Chase was either. And, of course, he helped change the New York comedy scene. That was back. That was that group that would develop into the original Not Ready for Primetime Players. They were all New York stand-up folks. Either that or someone would go on to SCTV. But Gilda Radner, John Belushi, they went into the National Lampoon Radio Hour, which, of course, also then Lorne Michaels grabbed. Belzer did some writing. He would do cameos and do writing, but he was never technically part of the SNL cast. He reneged. Lorne Michaels promised him work on the show, but reneged. So, anyway. And, of course, he'd done interviews for years. Been in many films, Fame, Scarface, Fletch Lives, Night Shift. It's his TV work and his comedic work that most people will, however, remember him for. Married 3 different times. None of them quite stuck. So, that's what happened. But anyway, there in France where he would pass away at his home. So, Richard Belzer, at 78, comedian, has passed away. Yes, most certainly. Well, it's 8:30. Takes us to the bottom of our hour. Already there, believe it or not. So we'll have a look at your updated forecast. And also, of course, you know what's coming. The birthday and anniversary calendar. Weather up first. It's brought to you by the Bank of Charlotte County.
Hello, I'm Stuart Wilborn, manager of the Bank of Charlotte County Loan Office in downtown Farmville. With over 30 years of banking experience, I'm here to help you finance your commercial, agricultural, or personal project. Give us a call at 391-1136 or stop by our downtown office at 216 North Main Street, where you'll find old-school personal assistance with attention to detail. The Bank of Charlotte County, giving you more for your banking needs. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Well, today, 20% slight chance of some showers this afternoon. Cloudy skies with highs in the low 60s. For tonight, still 20% chance of showers ending in the early morning. Mostly cloudy with lows in the mid-40s. Tuesday, a sunny day. Highs right around 70 degrees, but rather windy. Southwest winds 13 to 18, mainly in the morning. Winds could gust as high as 30 miles an hour. Tuesday night, increasingly cloudy, lows in the low 40s. Then Wednesday, a little 20% chance of rain coming back, that mainly throughout the morning. Mostly cloudy with highs in the low 60s. Wednesday night, cloudy, lows in the mid-50s. Thursday is when you can look for a high in the 80s, and Friday in the 60s. Now, before more chance of rain coming back in for your weekend. Right now, humidity at 84%, barometer 29.87 inches. Southwest wind still blowing, but it's died back a little, 3 miles an hour right now. Still got the morning cloud cover out there. Temperature-wise, well, we haven't moved. 47 degrees still here outside of the WFLO studios. This edition of Your Weather brought to you by the Bank of Charlotte County with branch locations in Phoenix, Charlotte Courthouse, Keysville, Brookneal, and that loan office right here in downtown Farmville. You know what's next. That's right. Time for your birthday and anniversary calendar now. Today, it's brought to you by the law office of Terry Atkins Wilson, PC, on Main Street in Farmville. And we do have some, I think we even have an anniversary in there for today.
We got a few.
We do. All right. Well, how about birthdays for the first half? And we'll do anniversaries after our sponsor.
You got it.
All right.
On the 20th of February, we want to wish happy birthday to Adam Rice, Joe Grace, Nancy Andrews, Julie A. Phillips, and William Coleman. Happy birthday to all of you on this beautiful day.
Pretty good list there. All right, we'll have our look at our anniversaries after this.
The law office of Terry Atkins Wilson, PC, is located at 117 North Main Street in downtown Farmville. With deep roots in Farmville and our surrounding communities, Terry and her legal staff specialize in real estate law, wills and trusts, business formations, and collections. Experience and professionalism are extended to every customer in every case. The needs and concerns of every customer are their primary focus. If you have legal needs, contact the law office of Terry Atkins Wilson, PC, for a consultation at 434-392-1422.
All right.
Yeah?
Anniversaries.
You hear? All right. On this day, February 20th, the wedding anniversaries are Clyde and Elise Singer from Crew, Sammy and Debbie Kress from Spout Spring,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
and finally, Jimmy and Melissa Falwell. Happy anniversary.
All right. Look at there. Birthdays and anniversaries today. Awesome. We wish you the best, whether we know of your celebration or not. Hope you have an awesome day. Curl up and get comfy together. Or by yourself. Whatever makes you happy. Remember, if you want to get those birthdays and anniversaries, get the names on the list. It's very simple. Email them to birthdays, remember the S, birthdays at WFLO.net. Or, of course, mail them to WFLO. That is 217 West 3rd Street, Suite 2, of course, Farmville, 23901. And we'll get that on the list so that we can tell everybody about the celebration. Your birthday and anniversary calendar brought to you at this time by Terry Atkins Wilson, PC. Remember, go see Terry for the right legal advice. Her office is there on Main Street in downtown Farmville, right across from the courthouse, as a matter of fact. Well, Andrew Lloyd Webber back in the news. Yep.
What's he done this time?
Well, the English composer who created the scores for blockbusters like Cats, Phantom of the Opera, and Evita has written the new anthem for King Charles III's coronation. He adapted a piece of church music that encourages singers to make a joyful noise. Now, the work by Weber, one of a dozen new pieces that's been commissioned for the grand occasion, which, of course, will take place the 6th of May at Westminster Abbey. The program for the King's coronation ceremony includes older music along with the new compositions. The palace seeks to blend traditional and modern elements that reflect the realities of modern Britain.
That is just going to be amazing, I think.
So that's cool.
What a cluster. Or, the logistics of all that. All the people. I mean, so many people slighted for not getting this, that, or the other thing. I mean, this music. How many other 1,000 decisions need to be made to get this thing to happen?
So much. I mean, you'll hear classics. There'll be William Byrd, Handel, Edward Elgar, of course, and Ralph Vaughan Williams, but also some new pieces. Welsh composer Carl Jenkins, probably best known for the Diamond music. Remember the Diamond commercial with the violins? Dun, 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 dun. That's Carl Jenkins. That was a piece. That's a small portion of a huge piece of music he wrote. But also new works by Paul Meller, who people might know, Shirley Thompson, Judith Weir, Roderick Williams, Debbie Wiseman.
So when's all this music being played?
All throughout so you've got different aspects of the ceremony where different music. There's stuff that happens before he arrives. There's stuff that happens after. There's during the ceremony. Coronation's a big to do.
I wonder who's directing this entire episode of King Charles.
Oh, putting it all together. Who knows? More power to him.
Absolutely.
Of course, the fascinating thing, God Save the King, been played at every coronation since 1727, of course, with the exception of a few word changes. So it's been a long time since anyone is actually saying, God Save the King. It will be interesting to hear. I mean, we, of course, did hear it briefly at the end of Queen Elizabeth's funeral. When
I didn't watch that.
The whole business, there's a ceremonial business right at the end before her coffin gets lowered of the breaking of the scepter and the passing of the orbs and things such as that. And so they sing then to honor the new monarch, God Save. And so they would sing God Save the King.
Interesting.
There at the
May
chapel.
7th.
6th. May 6th. Yep. So there you are.
Put it on the calendar.
Yeah. Oh, I'll be watching. Of course, the BAFTAs, which were this weekend. The BAFTA are the British Art Film Television Awards. Always kind of a precursor to what the Academy Awards may bring. Anti-war German drama, All Quiet on the Western Front, won 7 prizes, including Best Picture. The Irish tragicomedy The Banshees of Inisherin took 4 trophies home, including Best British Film. And the rock biopic Elvis won 4 as well. Austin Butler, a surprise Best Actor winner for his role as Elvis. The Best Actress prize went to Cate Blanchett for the drama Tar. I expected her to win.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, Apple's got it on the stream. All Quiet filmmaker Edward Berger named Best Director. Madcap Metaverse romp Everything Everywhere All at Once, the surprising big loser of the night, winning only 1 prize, although it got 10 nominations. Will the same thing happen at the Academy Awards? We'll have to wait and see. But usually the BAFTAs are a pretty good precursor. There's usually not a lot of variation, not in the big awards, between the two. Sometimes you'll get this weird upset. But usually the BAFTAs are a big curse. Of course, Oscars are March 12th. So they're coming up very soon.
Did you see the All Quiet on the Western Front?
No, I have not. I have not seen it. And I would like to. I mean, of course, I have seen the original, the classic. But it won 7 prizes at the BAFTAs.
Did you have to read that book in your elementary school days? We did, or else it was one of the ones that I chose to read. I don't really remember. I remember reading it, though.
I do remember it being on the list of books, like your summer reading.
Yeah.
You had to read like 3 books or whatever, and it was a list of like 20 or something like that. So I do remember it being on the list.
It's rather sad.
I did not.
Spoiler
It's a terrible. Well, it's a story of war.
Yes, it is.
So ain't going to be a laugh riot.
Well, I guess.
And World War I at that.
You're just going to take the fun out of everything.
Take the fun. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to take the fun out of war. I didn't know there was fun there to begin with.
All right, don't be quip.
You started it.
I did.
Of course, got the film ratings as well for the weekend. Phase 5 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, of course, has gotten off to a rocky start. But Ant-Man is bigger than ever with the new Ant-Man movie that opened this weekend. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. It opened with $104 million in just domestic sales.
I'm suspecting that there wasn't anything else going on.
Well, there wasn't any other new movies that came out.
Right.
There was stuff still in theaters, but no other new movie releases this weekend. Now, that easily surpasses the box office debuts of the previous 2 Ant-Man films. Easily the largest opening of the year so far, even though critics and audience have given the film low scores. So, $2.2 billion globally is now Cameron's Avatar sequel, which has just surpassed Titanic as 3rd highest grossing film ever.
Okay.
They re-released Titanic, so they could go back and forth for 3rd highest film, throughout the year. I don't know how long this anniversary release of Titanic is going to be out, but there you are. The first Ant-Man made $57 million. The sequel $75 million, and so now here the new one, 104 opening weekend. So, you going
to watch it?
Oh, I'll wait until it comes. I won't go to the theater. Yeah, I probably will, but I'm a few Marvel films behind.
Are you?
Yeah, they're interesting, and some of them are kind of fun escapism. I never go back and rewatch, other than Doctor Strange, but I like Doctor Strange. I never was a massive Marvel. I was more of a DC guy.
Really?
Yeah, I was a Batman kid.
I won't hold it against you.
But like I said, I read Batman. I collected Batman comics. But I knew the characters and knew the storylines. So they are interesting. And like I said, they're fun, popcorn fodder, escape film. But I'm not going to the movies to watch them.
Did you just say popcorn
fodder? Yeah.
Okay. That's what you said.
Yeah. Their whole purpose is just to give you something to do while you eat popcorn.
Okay.
Which is most movies nowadays. But, these over-the-top.
When's the last time you were at the theater, movie theater?
Oh, I'll bet you could guess. The last film I paid for a ticket to go see?
Yeah.
No Time to Die. The last Bond film. Surprise, surprise.
I do like my Bonds.
No surprise there.
Not too long ago, then.
Not that long. Morning, you're on the air.
Good morning. I just have a couple comments.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get back in the groove of listening to your call-in program every morning. And I just want to applaud what you all are doing, the service that you are rendering to the surrounding counties.
Thank you.
I listened the other day, and I was especially drawn to your opening remarks for civility and respect, and that your radio station would not tolerate threats of any kind. And I totally agree with that. It is a little bit of a sad commentary that you even have to make such a statement. But
True.
I do applaud you so much for that. And I want to make one other small comment.
Certainly.
When people attack our elected and appointed officials, school board, board of supervisors, whatever, this is how democracy dies. Serving your community should not be hazardous to your mental and physical well-being.
Very true.
And people will stop wanting to step up and serve. And that is an absolute travesty. So I just wanted to make those few comments this morning. I'm going to be tuning in, and I might have more to say later. But thank you for all you're doing, and keep it up.
Well, thank you for your call, and please call back. We'd love to hear from you.
Okay, I will. Thanks
Alrighty.
again. You guys have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
She's exactly right. I've said it before, and I will continue to say this. The problem with politics started shortly, in my opinion, after the Civil War turned century, when it became a job, when it stopped being a public service. It used to be you went because you were, tried to do good for your fellow man. You did a couple years. You went back home to your job. It was not a job. You didn't get paid. You didn't, and then shortly after the war and all this stuff, where these changes were made, and states passed it. The people of the time were in a position where they felt they needed the government's help for whatever reasoning they voted the way they did. Mm-hmm. And now, they're in this position of almost too much control and too much power. And it's hard to put it in reverse. But she makes an interesting point. If they're attacked for everything at every turn, then nobody wants the job. Who wants to be in a job where all you do is get attacked all the time? But it's a give and take, too.
It's interesting. It is. It's fascinating. And I thank her for calling because she's absolutely right. You know, and I think we're all trying to kind of understand or figure out why we're kind of going through this feeling of the death of democracy, and I think you hit a lot of it. Too much power, too much regulation, too much things. Mm-hmm. But I also, when I look at the House of Representatives, I see a lot of people there that seem to be normal people. They seem to actually be representing the people that they were hired. Or
they're just not the ones you see on TV and on all these talk shows and stuff, because they're actually doing the job that they were, in essence, hired to do.
Well, you bring up the point that sensationalism is the only thing that makes the news. It's the only thing that they're willing to throw at us to get our attention. And that's not how it is with everybody and everything. So.
The thing that upsets me, and it really, really does, it really deep down kills me, is... And you'll actually hear politicians say it, and I've been up there on Capitol Hill and been in their offices and heard it. Mm-hmm. They don't read. They have aides who read this law and then say, oh, well, it basically says this, go and vote this way. How can you truly represent your constituents when you've never actually read what you're voting on? You're taking a third party's opinion or thoughts or concisement of this 100-page. Your job is to actually read. Now, I know it's tremendous amount of paperwork. I understand that. But that's the responsibility you took on, you know?
It is.
So that bothers me when they don't. And I am a big letter writer. I am. Well, email now. But
I see it.
Morning, you're on the air.
Good morning. I agree with you totally, and I would like to see something included with everything they vote on, saying that I have read and fully understand what I'm about to vote on, almost like a contract that we would sign when we buy a car or something. I fully understand this.
If there was an accountability, that if they said, "Oh yeah, I did," and then something came out later they didn't, that there was repercussions. I think that's a great idea, but otherwise, I wouldn't. I hate to say it, but I wouldn't trust them, most of them, to be honest. On the gong there.
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting idea. I don't know how practical it may be, because a lot of them don't even show up for certain votes and debates. If you ever watch the video of the House footage, they're voting on something, and sometimes you're like, where are they? Are they out having some lunch with a lobbyist?
Oh, yeah. Some of these bills you see, they're like as thick as Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
And you're like, maybe if they did read them, it would slow down the process a little bit and give everybody a chance to catch their breath.
Well, I think that's part of what's missing is it's all, we got to do this now, we got to rush it through. Well, if you cross all the T's, dot all the I's, and like you say, slow down the process a little, maybe we wouldn't get ourselves in bad positions as much or pass laws that are only kind of half a solution. I don't know fully what the answer is, but
I like the idea of term limits.
Oh, I'm all for term limits.
And I still haven't figured out why that hasn't. Well, I know why it hasn't gone through because the people who have to vote on it don't want them to happen.
No.
But that would solve a lot of problems.
Yeah.
But I wonder if they did, because I would love to see term limits too, but I could also envision somebody saying, well, 2 terms, let's say, for example, it's 8 years. I've got to shut down my business or stop doing whatever I'm doing for 8 years and then start back up again. And
Well,
I could see people going like, "No, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to stop my practice for that long."
Right, and that it may be a good thing. Maybe Congress is not full of enough plumbers and farmers and too many lawyers. No, I'm just throwing that out because back in the day, I mean, let's be very honest. Thomas Jefferson was a farmer. When you get right down to it, he was a farmer and a tinker, inventor kind of guy. But nowadays, those are not the kind of people that get elected because it takes far too much money for a campaign. You know, you either have to get people to give you money and back you, and then, of course, they want something for their money, so you now are beholden with favors, or you have to already be fairly well off, someone like a lawyer, maybe a specialist doctor, or some rich person who's inherited or something. I think that plays a big part into the reason we get some of the people we get for office.
Yep. I would agree.
You know? Again, I don't know what the solution is. It's easy to see the problem, but exactly.
It's easy to talk about it too.
Yeah, but how do you fix it?
How do you
fix it?
Yeah. That's just as much a challenge as what to do with the homeless.
Yeah, you can't leave people, you got to have this compassion. You can't just leave people out on the street. What kind of example are we setting as the greatest nation in the world if this is what happens?
They've got to bring in like the best minds in the country and say, what do we do with a bunch of people that are living out on the streets? What do we do with them?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yes. I mean, at least start talking about the issue and working about it, and not behind closed doors. There needs to be more issues, whether it's homeless or whatever the case may be. I mean, you think about how many of those homeless people are vets who've come back, and because of the trauma of conflict, can't hold steady jobs or whatever the case may be. We know these are issues, but why do we not hear any of this? Why are these things not brought up? Why are they not discussed more? We pay a ton of money in taxes, and what do we continually hear? Oh, we're almost at our debt ceiling already. Well, I don't want to keep hearing that the country wants more money from me. I want to know what you're doing with all of the money you're already getting and why it's not going where it should be going.
Yeah.
Where's it going?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm getting worked up.
Yeah.
One last question.
No, go ahead.
Is being kind of fairly new to this area, is there a big homeless issue in what would, let's just say Farmville or?
Well, I mean, I can say not that I know of, not that I see, but, I think that's an interesting point because there are a lot of times you don't see the homeless. During the day, it's just somebody walking on the street or getting a cup of coffee. But then for all you know, they have nowhere to go. They're sleeping in a doorway somewhere or behind a church or, So how do you know?
I have not seen it here. And in the
and
past,
you've been in California.
Yeah, I've lived all over the place, actually. And so in California, you see it in your face all the time.
They're just right there.
At the intersection, under the bridges, and they make camps that are huge camps.
Right.
And one of the fellowships that I belong to, we used to, go in, help out, sick people, starving people. These people have it hard.
Yeah.
And so having some compassion for all that. But no, I haven't seen it in Farmville, and I think it's because it's too darn cold here.
Well, I would say I don't think we have a major issue with it here. I'm sure that we have some people.
Saw it in Richmond.
Richmond you probably would certainly.
That's
in
usually
the
what you do, cities.
Yeah. But. Yeah. Well, we've solved all the world's problems now, so.
Yes. We should get a
But
thanks
for calling.
Yeah, really appreciate your call.
Sir. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, there's so many issues. It's almost overwhelming. You get started, and it's this massive snowball effect that builds very quickly when you start thinking about all these things. Mm-hmm. But, they're talking again now about we might reach our debt ceiling. Well, that's the last thing I want to hear. Don't tell me, we're already as far in debt as we want to go, however many trillion we're at to now. What I want to hear is, what's your budget plan to tighten your belt and get me back in budget? One of the things that drove me nuts during the
COVID?
Well, no, 2 elections ago with Trump, and I would hear people say, "Oh, well, it'd be great to have a businessman as president. We can run." You can't run the government like a business. They don't sell anything. They don't. There is no money. The only money coming in for the entire government to operate comes from the taxpayer. They produce nothing, no goods or service for sale. Mm-hmm. So you can't run it like a business. There's no profit and loss. There's just loss.
Yeah.
So it needs to be run like a household. Here's what comes in. You don't spend more than that. You try to spend even less than that so you have money aside to pay off the debt.
Now you're talking crazy.
Yeah, I know. Far too much common sense. That's what I want to see out of my government. I want to see an actual budget. I'll give Biden kudos for one thing so far. He at least produced a budget. Mm-hmm. Congress didn't pass it, so we still don't have an actual budget. We haven't for God knows how long.
I could solve the whole budget problem.
Oh,
it's really easy.
You're going to give them the money to pay off the debt?
Quit paying the military for billion-dollar planes. I mean, seriously.
Well,
this is the biggest travesty we have.
Waste a tremendous amount of money.
So what if we repurposed our military? We'd probably cut down on spending because we wouldn't be buying billion-dollar planes every day.
Well, we could probably repurpose a lot of government spending. Mm-hmm. But that's what really needs to be done.
It's a solution.
Is a budget.
And that's what we need is solutions.
Solutions.
We can complain about it all day, all night. But until you have a solution, I don't think you should talk about it.
Yeah, until you have an answer, you're right. Or at least an idea of an answer.
Idea, yeah, let's all get to the bottom line and figure this out.
Figure it out.
From Farm Bill, the solution has arrived.
That's it. Well, hopefully we've solved all the life's problems. In any case, we may have. But it's time for us to go. I will not be with you, alas, tomorrow and Wednesday. Have some things I have to attend to. Quite honestly, tomorrow it might be John and Larry. It might be Christine and Larry. I know Wednesday it will be Christine and Larry. And I will be back with you Thursday when our guest will be Doug Stanley, so don't miss it.
WFLO AM 870. 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 AM 870.